Take is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subject matter. You've been warned. Enjoy the show. Welcome to number 22 on the Fresh Take NBA preview. It's Sacramento Kings, the home of Boogie!
I think possibly one of the greatest teams that hasn't happened yet in terms of Josh Smith and John Rondo.
Because they have Boogie!
They got Boogie. They got Nick Stauskas.
They got Nick Stauskas.
They have Sim Bular.
Chandler Parsons Jr., Nick Stauskas.
They do kind of look similar.
Yeah. I can kind of see him doing some modeling stuff down the road, kind of like Chandler Parsons did. Hopefully his coach doesn't call him fat, though.
He apologized for that.
I know.
In front of the whole team.
Good. But we know one thing that Stauskas does is he's getting paid.
He's getting paid. He's got them Benjamins.
He's got them Benjamins.
On Instagram, DeMarcus Cousins snapped a picture of Nick Stauskas taking a picture of a stack of money in his hand on the flight to China for their preseason games, and all it said was, busted. But hey, man, when you get money, everyone's got to know.
So one of the biggest things for this team is they drafted Stauskas, like we talked about. Great seasons at Michigan.
Yeah.
But last year they drafted Ben McLemore, who plays the same position.
Arguably the same kind of player.
Now they said they're going to try to play them together and try to make them work. But Devan, I just don't know about that.
It's like the whole Jimmer thing.
Yeah.
Like, they just keep drafting shooters, and then they never use those shooters to shoot the ball.
And Jimmer, we'll get to this when we get to the Pelicans, but I still think he has a lot of potential to maybe have a success, and they just buried him on the bench. And we saw whenever he got minutes, he succeeded. And Stauskas is kind of a similar player of what Jimmer is.
Stauskas is a little bit longer, a little bit taller, a little bit more athletic, so he's going to get to the rim better. He was definitely a great slasher in Michigan.
Yeah.
Ben McLemore, I think, is more of a slasher, less of a shooter. Nick Stauskas more of a shooter, less of a slasher.
And Ben McLemore, when we saw him at Kansas, he was a scary player.
Absolutely.
And I don't think we saw as much of that last year in Sacramento. Maybe it's just getting used to bigger bodies in the NBA. That could be a big part of that.
Harder, better, faster, stronger.
But the key to this team is really two players. This is the only team last year that had 3 20-point scorers on the team.
Impressive.
One of those is gone now with Isaiah Thomas. He's off to Phoenix. Rudy Gay got traded from the Raptors last year.
In a trade that everybody liked for both sides.
I know.
It just, no one even complained.
I can't remember the last time a trade just worked for everybody.
No one was mad.
Nobody was mad. Everyone was just really happy. They got Rudy Gay and Boogie Collins are the two main players on this team. Question, right point blank for them, All-Stars.
Yeah. Both world champions as well.
Yep.
Rudy Gay replacing Kevin Durant. Biggest problem right now. There's no power forward. There's no point guard. I mean, Reggie Evans, great.
He's a great hustle player.
Yeah, but he's not the kind of
Carl Landry.
He's not Josh Smith.
Josh
Smith would be cool. Would be a great addition.
Way down on the depth chart, we have Derek Williams. We talked about him earlier in comparison to like an Aaron Gordon, or we like to call him on here Aaron Gordon, of a guy that had a lot of potential coming out of Arizona. We saw him dunk over a motorcycle in the dunk contest, but we've never seen him reach a potential in the NBA. This is a guy that some people thought was a better prospect than Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And then just for whatever reason, he hasn't found the right home.
No.
Is he a bad player? Maybe his skills didn't translate well to the NBA, but maybe he just never got that shot. That's what I'm kind of thinking.
I mean, you see, I was watching it. He changed up his hairstyle this year too. It's like blowing out, and I was like, "Who is that?" I was like, "Oh, it's Derek Williams."
So you think the hair? It's gotta be in the hair.
But like, he's also been a player that I don't really know what position he is. Is he a small forward? Is he a better at power forward? Like, I've never really known what Derek Williams' position is.
That's exactly like when he was at Arizona. He kind of delivered everything, but he's a jack of all trades master.
Is that just Arizona prospects with Gordon and now with Derek Williams?
They're supposed to be versatile players. At the end of the day, I don't really know what Derek Williams does well. Does he do anything well that makes him that? He deserves to be ahead of Carl Landry?
I don't know. I think I saw him do good stuff in the tournament. And I'm like, oh, he's going to be a good pro. But I haven't seen anything in the pros.
Kept getting to the line.
Boogie. All-Star this season, yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even if they're at the bottom of the West.
Yes, he's an all-star.
Yeah, I think it's time.
He's one of the premier, him, Mark Aldridge, Blake, some of the premier big guys in the NBA.
And then we have this weird battle at the point guard position.
Yeah.
So Isaiah Thomas left, and now we have Darren Collison, who's been very unproved as a point guard. He's bounced around from New Orleans to Indiana to the Clippers, Dallas, and now he's here. I don't know if I was right in that order, but he's bounced around.
Last of the Clippers. That was the last team.
Roman Sessions saw some great things in his first few years with Milwaukee. Then he got traded to the Lakers a few years ago. Did okay there, but he really hasn't been.
He's not the kind of player you want as a point guard, though.
No.
He's
a great.
Let's be real. The weakest position they have now with losing Isaiah is the point guard.
Do you think they would have been better maybe taking an Alfred Payton maybe?
The Nick Stauskas?
Yeah.
Well, that's the big thing. That's why we thought Nick Stauskas should have gone to the Hornets, because they already had Ben McLemore.
Yeah, or do you think they should have tried to trade Ben McLemore and got a point guard?
They just should get a point guard. That's period.
So
Then drafting Nick Stauskas was super weird.
We both agree we don't trust Darren Collison or Roman Sessions or Ray McCollum.
Who?
I just
sad. Questions, man. The positions that they have filled very well. But to be honest, there's no.
This is the one team we might as well have a question mark over the logo, because it's the one team you're always uncertain about. What is Sacramento doing? You drafted Boogie Collins, great. You brought in Rudy Gay, great. But what are you really doing as a franchise? Every other team we've kind of gone to, we can kind of see the direction they're going, and you sometimes have a team like Atlanta Hawks in the past where they're just good enough to make the playoffs, but that's it.
Yeah.
The Kings are just good enough to think that they're good enough to make the playoffs, but they're lottery bound.
They are. That's why they're 22.
It's one of the most confusing teams to me in the entire league.
Because they can be big.
There's so much potential here.
Rudy Gay and DeMarcus Cousins is a big backcourt.
And I think it's good for Rudy, too, because in Toronto, and at times in Memphis, he was counted on being that go-to guy to score. And now it's Boogie's team, so he can kind of do his own thing, and the pressure isn't on his back as much. It's more on Boogie's back.
I like them sharing the ball.
Yeah.
And they proved last year that they play well together. And Team USA time together, even stronger bond.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's number 22, the Sacramento Kings. Up next, time to go mile high. 21, Denver Nuggets. This has been a Fresh Take Stick Boy production.